Andor has a lot of great speeches. It's the kind of thing the show is known for at this point, whether it's Luton trauma dumping and the circus inciting a prison riot, Nemik's manifesto, or Marva's eulogy speech back at the end of Season 1. However, I think Mon Mothma's speech after the Gorman massacre will be the one the show is truly remembered for. This speech had a lot to live up to since, unlike the others, it was actually and explicitly advertised.
I need to make a speech tomorrow.
They'll never let you take the floor.
I've seen you work miracles before.
The show tells us the speech is coming, the story creates massive anticipation, and then somehow delivers a cinematic moment that surpasses all expectations. But what is so brilliant about this scene? What makes it so powerful? The scene itself has its own structure and is divided into 3 separate acts. First, we get a simmering introduction to diffuse the tension and start building on the anticipation.
I stand before you this morning with a heavy heart.
I came here as a child, and as I look around me now, I realize I have almost no memories that predate my arrival.
The whole speech starts at 0 and builds up to 100 by the end. The content of the first part is relatively harmless and actually dominates most of the speech, even though it feels quite brief. Background music is faintly heard.
Through these many years, I believe I have served my constituents honorably.
It's there and it's slowly starting to rise, but very much still in the background, until this moment.
The distance between what is said
Shut it down.
and what is known to be true has become an abyss.
This is where the speech actually begins, where Mon Mothma truly rebels and dares to call out the Empire, in a way where there's just no going back. Now we've entered the core of what this show is trying to convey. The whole second act of the speech focuses on the death of truth.
Of all the things at risk, the loss of an objective reality is perhaps the most dangerous.
The moment propaganda reaches critical mass and becomes unbearable, something true not just about the Star Wars Empire, but about every tyrannical government throughout human history. It's the trait that binds all tyranny together. Every authoritarian state relies on a constant need to manipulate the truth as a survival mechanism. The real triumph here is that this specific part of the speech could have been given word for word anywhere in one of the many dictatorships throughout human history, and it would still unironically work. It's universal and feels all too familiar.
This chamber's hold on the truth was finally lost on the Gorman Plaza.
Now we're in the final act. We leave the background of the story where universal themes and ideas live and bring the focus back to Star Wars, back to the foreground of the story, back to the Gorman massacre. The scope narrows and the music swells to the foreground of the scene. It's almost as loud, if not more, than Genevieve O'Reilly's voice.
And that truth has been exiled from this chamber.
It's the culmination of Mon Mothma's defiance and the birth of the rebellion. Everything this story has been leading up to for the last 2 seasons. The word genocide is used here.
What happened yesterday on Gorman was unprovoked genocide.
Which some might find weird given that this is a Star Wars show. However, they earned it. The preceding Gorman episode was so colossally brutal and devastating that the G word actually feels appropriate. Without the proper build-up, it could have felt silly and out of place, but this is the real difference between Andor and a lot of other Star Wars stories. Andor does the work in laying the foundations for the payoffs. It's why a simple monologue about truth is so much more epic than any one of the many overblown action scenes in the entire sequel trilogy. Background score is the same one as Season 1's eulogy.
Because we had each
Leaves
other.
us. When we let it slip away,
We are
when it
very
is ripped from our hands, we become vulnerable to the
We were
appetite of
sleeping.
whatever monsters.
It's perfect, much like the writing. It starts slow and then builds and swells all the way to the end. It's not just that the writing is great or that the music is great, but that the writing and the music work together in total synchrony. This scene is the encapsulation of all dimensions of storytelling coming together in perfect harmony. Writing, acting, editing, and music all blended together into one massively satisfying payoff.